In 40 minutes' time, football, USA versus England, live from Boston.
From the headquarters of ITN, News at 10, with Trevor McDonald.
Lamont to Major, change or you'll not survive. The Prime Minister faces up to a leadership crisis. British troops in Bosnia lead surrounded Croats to safety. And an official review for the sex case judge. Good evening. 13 days after he was sacked as Chancellor, Norman Lamont today fired off a devastating attack on John Major. He told him his government wouldn't survive and wouldn't deserve to if it didn't change. Mr. Lamont said the government gave the impression of being in office but not in power. He said there was too much short-termism about it, too much reacting to events, not shaping them, too much listening to opinion pollsters and party managers. As our political editor Michael Brunson reports, Mr. Lamont's explosive farewell to government might play an important role in Mr. Major's real battle now for political survival.
Trevor, this was as extraordinary, as tense a day as you'll ever see in the House of Commons. And all the events are no doubt giving John Major a great deal of thought as he sits in number 10 Downing Street tonight. But the word from there tonight is that there's no thought of giving up, that he intends to fight on and overcome his difficulties. All your black Outside number 10 this morning, a rather different mood. A roar of support from Tory MPs elected 10 years ago. The only nice thing that happened to Mr. Major today. By this afternoon, MPs had packed themselves into the Commons chamber. Resignation speeches are always moments of high drama. This was no exception. Norman Lamont back on the back benches, delivering not the near-instant knockout blow which Geoffrey Howe landed on Margaret Thatcher, but a series of vicious uppercuts which may in the end do equal damage. This on the very reshuffle which removed him, for example.
Perhaps I can make it clear that I wish the Prime Minister well and hope that his changes will produce whatever advantage for him and the government that he intended.
Labour laughter, but silent Tory dismay around him already clear. He'd wanted an emergency escape route from the ERM. The Prime Minister hadn't. He'd criticised the use of interest rate cuts for political purposes and called for an independent Bank of England. Mr. Major's against that. The ex-Chancellor ended with a deeply damaging attack on the way John Major is running the government.
There is something wrong with the way we make our decisions. The government listens too much to the pollsters and the party managers. As a result, there is too much short-termism, too much reacting to events, not enough shaping of events. We give the impression of being in office, but not in power. Far too many important decisions are made for 36 hours publicity, and I believe that in politics, you should decide what is right and then decide the presentation, not the other way around. Unless this approach is changed, the government will not survive and will not deserve to survive.
With the House in some shock at the bitterness of that attack, John Smith, opening the economic debate, used another weapon against the Prime Minister, mocking sarcasm.
The man with the non-Midas touch is in charge. No wonder we live in a country where the Grand National doesn't start an hotel.
Well, with Labour backbenchers roaring their approval of Mr. Smith's most effective performance for months, the Labour leader concluded,
no amount of reshuffling, repackaging and representation can now disguise from the British people the stark reality of a discredited government presided over by a discredited Prime Minister.
Well, by contrast, the Prime Minister gave what even Tory backbenchers are saying tonight was a very poor speech. He began by replying to Norman Lamont, criticising his lack of political skill while acknowledging that he had taken the right decisions.
But a strong government needs political skills as well. Political skills when leading a democratic society, and in particular, Madam Speaker, handling a lively House of Commons with a small majority.
Well, that started what became a steady drone of mocking laughter from the Labour benches as Mr. Major defended himself against the charge of short-termism.
We were not prepared in the government to allow short-term difficulties to deflect the government from what were the right long-term policies for this country. That was the position, and it is the position.
At the end, the dismay on the Tory benches was clear. Very few Tory order papers were waving, and sensing that, Liberal Democrat Paddy Ashdown gave voice to the private thoughts one suspects of not a few Tories tonight.
What we have heard and seen this afternoon is nothing less than the beginning of the end of the premiership of the right honourable gentleman who has just spoken.
True or false, Mr. Major knows that today he has significantly weakened his hold on his job. But tonight, Tory spirits have been raised by a rumbustrous wind-up speech by the new Chancellor speaking just a short time ago.
The first thing I've outlined, the first thing to which the party opposite should have addressed themselves, to which they have not, is how can we sustain that recovery? Because I